Meanwhile, this is what's happening in Cuba. The allure of Cuban communism appears to be waning. The country is facing its worst economic crisis in 30 years, and the government does not have answers. Thousands of anti-government protesters are marching through major cities. These are the biggest demonstrations in decades, but with no Castro at the helm. How will Cuba navigate this crisis? Will the legend of Fidel be enough to quell the protests? Or is this the beginning of something bigger? Our next report tells you.
Communists love revolutions. They plot it, romanticize it, embrace it, until it reaches their doorstep. Cuba knows a thing or two about revolutions. This is a country forged by fiery communists. A band of rugged guerrilla fighters led by the charismatic Fidel Castro. But modern-day Cuba is not a communist fiefdom, and these protesters are here to say just that.
We are here because of the repression against the people. They are starving us to death. Havana is collapsing. We have no house, we have nothing, but they have money to build hotels and they have us starving.
Anti-government protests are rare in Cuba, but the Wuhan virus pandemic created the perfect storm. Critical medicines are in short supply. Food and electricity are becoming a luxury, and the government's response has been to blackout complaints. For President Miguel Diaz-Canel, this is a big test. He took charge in 2018 as Cuba's first non-Castro leader. Now he faces the worst economic crisis in 30 years. The Castros may be gone, but Diaz's strategy is straight out of the Castro playbook. Blame the Americans.
We are not going to admit that any counter-revolutionary mercenary sold out to the government of the United States, sold out to the empire, receiving money from the agencies, allowing themselves to be carried away by all these strategies of ideological subversion to provoke destabilization in our country. There will be a revolutionary response.
Meddling in Central America is an old Washington habit. But these protests are not choreographed. They broke out spontaneously, engulfing major Cuban cities. These people are not chanting Cuba Libre. They are singing down with dictatorship, and we want liberty. Soon the police arrived. They shut down the internet and pushed back against the protesters. Some of them were arrested. A few also sustained injuries.
State security beat me and my daughter, a minor. They beat us because we were walking down the street.
The United States is keeping a close eye on these protests. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan condemned the targeting of protesters. He offered American support to freedom of assembly in Cuba, a right limited to communist gatherings. Things are unlikely to get better soon. Wuhan virus cases are rising in Cuba, but the country is yet to import a single vaccine. They are depending on homegrown jabs with dubious efficacy data. Combined with crippling American sanctions, Cuba is boxed in. The people are tired after 6 decades of communist authoritarianism. They want food and freedom, not Fidel. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.